Instead, we're going to be going back in time and we're going to look at the next gen list from 10 years ago, almost a decade ago, and see what happened to those players. So, I did a video recently talking about the next gen list. Go check it out if you haven't already. Essentially, it's where GOAL and the Guardian, I think, also do it as well, combined together to list the 50 best Wonderkids in world football for that year. And they've been doing it for 10 years now, so I thought, why don't we go ahead and look back 10 years ago at the players they listed then, the 50 best Wonderkids then, and see if any of them realised their potential. Shout out to RT as well, who commented on that video to suggest we do this. I thought it was a great idea, so here we are. Now, I should caveat this with technically I'm not doing 10 years ago, I'm kind of cheating here. I'm looking at the 2016 list instead of the 2015, just because the 2016 list was the first time they ranked them. In 2015 they just listed them. This time they're ranked from 50 to number 1 in order of the best. So when I go through the order, and at the end I'm going to give this, I guess, generation a rating out of 10 and see how many hits and busts there were. And if you want to see me do this for other years, then please let me know in the comments. But without further ado, let's get into it. Starting with number 50, Rafik Zekini. Zekini shone against Borussia Dortmund in a Europa League playoff, registering an assist after just 16 seconds of the first leg in Norway. His performance in that game, coupled with some fine domestic displays, saw him linked to both Dortmund and Man United. He joined Fiorentina instead, but it just didn't work out, making only one appearance for the club and being sent on a series of loans back to Norway and in the Netherlands. Zekini eventually left Fiorentina on a permanent basis in the summer of 2021, joining Molde, and he spent a bunch of years hopping around Norwegian clubs before eventually being released from his latest one in 2024, and he remains a free agent. Number 49, Nicholas Dortch. Nicholas Dortch was being tipped as the heir to Bastian Schweinsteiger and Toni Kroos, with the midfielder regarded as the best player in the Bayern Academy. Dortch marked his senior Bayern debut with a goal against Frankfurt, but that proved to be his only appearance for the club, as a failure to agree a new contract saw him join second division side FC Heidenheim in 2018. A regular starter for Heidenheim, he left for Belgian side Gent playing European football, and Dortch was outstanding for Germany as they won the 2021 Under-21s Euros. That performance earned him a £7 million move back to Germany in Augsburg, and he fought off relegation with them, establishing himself as a Bundesliga player. He's now back at Heidenheim again, playing in the Bundesliga as a solid player. Number 48, Ismail Azou. Originally a product in Anderlecht's academy, winger Azou left Spurs in 2015 in a bid to prove his worth at senior level with Wolfsburg. Sadly, injuries ruined his career, with a ruptured cruciate ligament falling him out of his first season at Wolfsburg, and Azou joined Willem on a season-long loan the year after to get his career back on track. Azou did very well in Eredivisie, but suffered a second serious knee injury upon his return to Wolfsburg year. He was eventually released in the summer of 2020, eventually signing for a Dutch side, but after an encouraging start, yet again suffered another serious knee injury, ruling him out for the entire season, and who is now playing in Cyprus. Number 47, Nicholas Delgadillo. Having broken into the Vélez Sarsfield first team as a 17-year-old in 2015, winger Delgadillo was being scouted by the likes of Real Madrid and Valencia. However, opportunities were hard to come by for Delgadillo as he made just 6 first-team appearances, and he was sent on a bunch of loans to other Argentinian sides to gain first-team experience. However, none of them worked at all, and in 2023 the forward finally left Vélez on a permanent basis, joining a second division Argentine side. Again, he did not work out, and in 2025 he is now playing in Costa Rica. Number 46, Thiago Maia. A number of elite European clubs were scouting Thiago Maia after the midfielder had established himself as a regular for Santos. He was also part of the Brazil squad that won the gold medal at the 2016 Olympic Games in Rio and looked very promising. Lille paid 14 million to sign Maia in 2017, but injuries began to plague him and he made just 3 Ligue 1 appearances during his first season. In 2020, Maia returned to Brazil with Flamengo and he became a key figure as they went on to win the Copa Libertadores. Despite some solid performances on the pitch, it was off the field where he made headlines as he volunteered to help with rescue efforts during the floods that hit Rio and was subsequently awarded the FIFA Fair Play Award in 2024. Maia remains a dependable member of the Brazilian side Internacional and is a very, very solid Brazilian player. Number 45, Steven Bergwijn. Bergwijn was being touted as the new Memphis Depay at PSV after the ex-Ajax Academy star had begun earning first-team opportunities. Bergwijn played a key role in PSV winning the Eredivisie in 2017, scoring in the win over Ajax which sealed the title. He would go on to make his full Netherlands debut a year later and take his game to even greater levels the year after. He began the season scoring 15 goals in 16 Eredivisie games, prompting Tottenham to pay 25 million for him in January 2020, and he scored on his league debut in a win over Man City, but an injury meant he missed out the rest of the season. Bergwijn struggled to hold down a regular pace in Jose Mourinho's side, and his mixed form eventually led to him missing out a place in the 2020 Euros. But Ajax made him the most expensive signing in Eredivisie history when they paid over 30 million to bring the forward back to the Netherlands. The winger rediscovered his form back in the Dutch flight and earning a spot in the Dutch team for the World Cup in 2022, playing 4 out of their 5 matches and was named Ajax captain, also being part of the Netherlands side that reached the Euro 2024 semi-finals. Saudi side Al Ittihad paid 20 million to sign Bergwijn last season, and he remains there with overall a very good career. Maybe not a star as once hoped, but a very good player. Number 44, Bilal Udchik. Definitely butchered his name. But anyways, winger Udchik less than 2 years into a 5-year contract and having never played for the first team, Udchik was released by Benfica in 2017, moving back to the Netherlands for Utrecht. After making just 5 appearances, he was then released by Utrecht, joining Turkish side Denizlispor. For the second time in his career, Udchik left a club having never played for them, returning to the Netherlands, and after some poor spells, now 27, Udchik has finally found his feet and is one of the standout players in the Dutch second division, chasing promotion back to the top flight with his current club. Number 43, Lincoln. Handed his first team debut at Gremio by Luis Scolari as a 16-year-old, attacking midfielder Lincoln had captained Brazil at the Under-17 World Cup in 2015. After making sporadic appearances for Gremio, Lincoln was loaned to a Turkish second division side. But after returning from his encouraging spell in Turkey, he made just one appearance for Gremio before moving permanently to Europe for a Portuguese side, Santa Clara. Though he struggled for goals, Lincoln started to establish himself in the Portuguese league, helping Santa Clara secure European football as one of the best creative players in the league. He returned to Turkey to play for Fenerbahce, playing Champions League football and doing very well in his first season, before sadly rupturing his ACL, which really has turned his career, and he's now out on loan at Hull City in the Championship, still contracted to Fenerbahce. Number 42, Aaron Leia Iseka. The younger brother of Michy Batshuayi, fellow forward Leia Iseka recovered from a serious knee injury to join Marseille on loan in the 2016-17 season, having previously made his Anderlecht debut at the age of just 17. However, he managed just eight appearances for Marseille and moved to Toulouse. Leia Iseka found opportunities hard to come by though, eventually in 2021 being sold to Championship side Barnsley. That did not work out though, and he was relegated, and he has since hopped around to different clubs and is now playing in Bulgaria for CSK Sofia, so definitely not the career that he had hoped for. Number 41, Dominic Solanke. Solanke was out on loan at Vitesse, having already made his debut for both Chelsea and the England under-21s, after starring at the under-17 Euros in 2014. After finding chances hard to come by at Chelsea, Solanke rejected a new contract, moving to Liverpool in 2017. He followed that up by being named player of the tournament, as England won the Under-20 World Cup, before making his full international debut. Solanke, unfortunately, did not work out at Liverpool, and Bournemouth agreed to pay $19 million to sign him in 2019, but he failed to score a goal for the Cherries in his first year at the club. He began to show what he could do in front of goal at Championship level though, netting 29 goals as Bournemouth earned promotion back to the Prem. Solanke finally found his feet in the Premier League last season, scoring 19 goals, prompting Tottenham to pay £65 million for him. It's taken a long time, but Solanke is now living up to his potential. Number 40, Leandrinho. The top scorer at the South American Under-17 Championship with Brazil, Leandrinho was being linked with a move to Italy. The winger did go to Italy, joining Napoli, but failed to deliver and was sent back to Brazil, having failed to muster a single appearance for Napoli. just kept dropping down a level, being loaned out to a second division side, not working out, and then a fourth tier side before being released. Having been without a club for now 7 months, it's difficult to see Leandrinho resurrecting his career at this point. Number 39, Lee Sung-woo. Dubbed the Korean Messi, Lee was being tipped for a breakthrough season at Barcelona after seeing his career temporarily halted by Barca's transfer ban. That breakthrough never came, however, and Lee, who was named Young Asian Footballer of the Year, was sold to Hellas Verona in 2017. Lee was pretty decent for Verona and managed to play at the 2018 World Cup for South Korea, but he was eventually sold to a Belgian side, but was released by the club in 2021. Lee returned to Korea, where he remains today and is doing very well, and reportedly has turned down multiple offers to return back to Europe. Number 38, Christian Bielik. Signed by Arsenal from Legia Warsaw, Bielik had already been given a taste of senior football by Arsene Wenger. He was sent on a series of loans to English sides, eventually finding his feet for Charlton in League One, leading them to promotion to the Championship. His displays led to Derby County paying £8 million to sign him, and he made his senior Poland debut a month later. A serious knee injury stunted his development though, and just over a year from the day of his first knee injury, Bielik sadly suffered another torn knee ligament, keeping him out for another year. He did manage to recover though, joining Birmingham, and his form earned him a place in Poland's World Cup squad in 2022, and he currently remains at Birmingham as their captain. Number 37, Ousmane Dembele. At the age of 18, Dembele was regarded as the breakout star at Ligue 1 after scoring 12 goals for Rennes, earning himself a move to Borussia Dortmund and a France debut. Dembele contributed to over 30 goals in his debut campaign at Dortmund and was sold to Barcelona for $100 million, looking to replace Neymar. A hamstring injury ruled him out, however, for the rest of the season, but Dembele was part of the France squad that won the 2018 World Cup. Back at Barca, concerning reports emerged about potential attitude problems, and injuries and poor form continued to plague Dembele, who had 5 separate spells on the sidelines in 2019. Dembele was threatened with being frozen out of the club if he did not leave in 2022, but was instead reintegrated into Xavi's squad, ending the campaign with 13 assists. His form saw him earn a new contract, and the winger continued to perform well for Barcelona. However, injuries in the second half of the season limited his progress and likely led to the decision to sell him to Paris Saint-Germain in 2023. Dembele was frustratingly again inconsistent during his first season, but 10 years from his initial emergence, Dembele may finally have put it all together, with him now one of the most impressive forwards in Europe right now, having already secured his best ever season for goals. Number 36, Albon Lafont. Tipped as a future France number 1, Lafont became the youngest goalkeeper in Ligue 1 history, making his Toulouse debut at the age of just 16. He continued to impress, making over 100 Ligue 1 appearances before joining Fiorentina. Lafont's first season in Serie A was a mixed one, making some great saves but some high-profile errors, and after losing his spot in the first team, he was loaned to Nantes in 2019. By Back in France, Lafont began to rebuild his reputation, joining permanently and becoming the first goalkeeper ever to be awarded a 10 out of 10 rating by L'Equipe for his performance against PSG. Named Nantes captain, Lafont received his first France call-up soon after and was linked to some big clubs. However, he fell out of favour in 2024, being forced to train with the reserves, but he has now been welcomed into the first team fold and it remains at Nantes. Number 35, Adalberto Benarada. One of the brightest prospects in South America, Benaranda had joined Udinese in 2015 before being loaned to Granada, where he broke Messi's La Liga record as the youngest non-Spaniard to score a brace. Later in 2016, he joined Watford before being loaned back to Granada and making his international debut for Venezuela. 3 years after signing for them, Benaranda finally made his Watford debut in 2019, but was loaned out just a few weeks later to a Belgian side. That loan was cut short, and he spent the remainder of the campaign on the fringes at Watford. He joined CSK Sofia for another loan, and then was sent to his 6th different loan club since joining Watford, joining Las Palmas. Injuries held him back, and he was eventually released by Watford in 2021, joining a side in Portugal. Eventually he was also released by them, and he then joined a Bosnian side, but is now currently playing out on loan for a Colombian team. Number 34, Nikola Vlasic. Having made his senior debut at the age of 16, Vlasic was compared to Shaqiri for his ability with the ball at his feet, while he had already captained Hajduk Split. Vlasic made his full international debut for Croatia in 2017, 3 months later joining Everton in the largest sale in Hajduk Split history. After an indifferent campaign, Vlasic was sent to CSK Moscow, where he made an immediate impact, scoring the winning goal against Real Madrid in the Champions League. He continued to flourish both domestically and in Europe, named Russian Footballer of the Year in 2020, and West Ham paid in excess of 25 million to bring him back to the Premier League in 2021, but it didn't work out, and he was sent to Torino, where he did great, and the midfielder made 6 appearances for Croatia at the 2022 World Cup. He remains at Torino today, but has been in and out of the starting lineup. Number 33, Cameron Borthwick-Jackson. Borthwick-Jackson made his senior United debut under Van Gaal in 2015 and quickly became a regular in the United matchday squad for the rest of the season. Having been loaned out to Wolves ahead of the next year, a change of management saw the left-back fall down the pecking order and return to Old Trafford. Borthwick played 4 months of under-23s football before joining Scunthorpe and then Tranmere, 2 loans which did not work out. He was eventually released by United in 2020, becoming a regular starter for League One side Burton, and eventually joining a Polish side. After cancelling his contract with them over the summer, Borthwick-Jackson remains without a club, and it remains to be seen what happens with his career. Number 32, Ray Manage. Plucked from Cremonese in 2015, Inter beat off competition from Juventus and Atletico to sign Manage, who had already made his full Albanian debut. He was sent on a loan to Spanish side Albacete, and Albacete made the deal permanent. 6 months later, he had joined Barcelona B team, and then was loaned to Serie A side Spezia, becoming a regular in a Serie A side. He then joined Watford before being picked up by a Turkish side, Sivasspor, where he finally found his home, with only Icardi and Dzeko bettering his 18 goals in the Turkish league. Injuries have caught up with Manajvo, and he hasn't really been able to build much momentum since, but he remains at Sivasspor. Number 31, Bartlomiej Dragowski. Likened to Manuel Neuer, Dragowski was linked to moves to the Premier League, having broken into the Poland under-21 side. He eventually joined Fiorentina in the summer of 2016 and was loaned to Empoli in 2019. He made headlines in April when he broke the Serie A record for the most saves in a single game with 17 saves, and his form earned him the starting role at Fiorentina. However, injuries forced Dragowski to sit out in 2021 and lose his starting role, prompting him to leave to join Spezia. Though back regularly starting in Serie A, Spezia were relegated, and he lost his starting spot, which in turn led to him joining Panathinaikos in 2024. The Ball is now well established in Greece as one of the best goalkeepers in the league. Number 30, Pedro Pereira. Having trained in the academies of Sporting and Benfica, Pereira moved to Sampdoria in 2015 and was already a regular in the Serie A side. The fullback rejoined Benfica in 2017, making his debut for the club, but it didn't work out and he was sent to Genoa in 2018. He made plenty of appearances, but he then was loaned out to Bristol City for the following campaign. He was again sent out on loan, joining Crotone, and back in Serie A he played plenty. He was then loaned to Serie B side Monza in 2021. They decided to buy him, and he helped them gain promotion back to Serie A. A flurry of signings forced him down the pecking order though, and he was sent on loan to a Turkish side where he did pretty well, and has returned to Monza, becoming more of a regular starter for the side in the Italian top flight. Number 29, Borja Mayoral. A prolific goalscorer in Real Madrid's B team, Mayoral was likened to Raúl in the Spanish capital. He joined Wolfsburg on loan ahead of the 16-17 campaign, but struggled to impose himself. He was sent to Levante the following year, and was sent there for 2 years after impressive performances. The striker enjoyed his best scoring season to date in 1920, netting 9 times for Levante, convincing Roma to sign him. His first season in Serie A was impressive, scoring 17 goals, but he fell out of favour under new manager Jose Mourinho and was sent to Getafe. Mayoral enjoyed his career best season, scoring 15 La Liga goals, and was linked to the likes of Arsenal and Barcelona last season, but a knee injury ended his season prematurely, and Mayoral has been struggling since with that injury and is yet to show his best this season at Getafe. Number 28, Luka Jovic. Already a veteran of over 50 appearances for Red Star Belgrade, Jovic was linked with moves to Arsenal and Spurs. He eventually joined Benfica in 2016, but only made 1 appearance for the club, joining Frankfurt. The forward's first season in the Bundesliga was encouraging, earning a spot in Serbia's squad for the 2018 World Cup, but he exploded the year later, scoring 27 goals as one of Europe's most prolific strikers. He was sold to Real Madrid for around 60 million euros, but he struggled for form and fitness. He continued to be a shadow it didn't work out and he was eventually allowed to leave on a free transfer to Fiorentina, but he struggled to start regularly, but did pretty well in the Conference League. He eventually joined AC Milan, and Jovic has since been a backup striker for them, but has struggled with injuries this season. Number 27, Reece Oxford. The youngest player in West Ham history, Oxford made headlines on his Premier League debut as a 16-year-old shining against Arsenal. He was sent to Reading on loan in 2017, before then joining Gladbach in the Bundesliga. He suffered a season-ending injury in 2018 though, and subsequently returned to West Ham. He then left to join Augsburg, and he impressed on loan, prompting them to pay £2.5 million to join them permanently. Oxford established himself as a regular starter and one of the Bundesliga's best up-and-coming defenders. However, a knee surgery and muscle problems as a result of a long COVID ultimately stunted his development. Oxford missed the entire of last season, continuing to receive treatment away from the pitch. The centre-back has returned to training in recent months, but it is now over 2 years since he has made a first-team appearance. Number 26, Jeff Rene Adelaide. Signed by Arsenal in 2015, Rene Adelaide made his debut for the Gunners the following January, but was loaned out to Angers in 2018. And after impressing at the Ligue 1 outfit, they made it permanent, where Rene Adelaide developed into one of the best midfielders in Ligue 1. His displays led to Lyon paying £25 million to sign him in 2019, but he suffered a season-ending injury before the year was out. Having made his return to fitness, Nice signed Rene Adelaide on a loan, but sadly he suffered a second serious knee injury in the space of 14 months. After more than a year out, he was loaned to Troyes in 2023, but could not recapture the form from his earlier career. He was subsequently released by Lyon, joining a Belgium side, and the midfielder has been loaned out to Serie B side Salernitana this year, but injuries yet again have sadly limited his game time. Number 25, Hakim Mastor. Subject of interest from Barca, Real Madrid and Juventus, Mastor rose to fame when appearing in a Red Bull advert alongside Neymar, performing a series of skills. He was sent on a 2-year loan to Malaga in 2015, having been named the AC Milan bench while just 15 years old. Mastor's spell at Malaga was cut short after just one appearance, and he spent the rest of the season on loan to a Dutch side. With his contract running out at San Siro, Mastor left in 2018, joining a Greek side, but he was then released by them and spent 7 months without a club before joining his boyhood club Regina. He sadly made only one appearance for them and spent another year without a club after being released before joining a second division Moroccan side. And in 2025 it seems his professional career is now over, as he has joined FC Zeta in the Kings League Italia, which is Gerard Piqué's 7-a-side league. Number 24, Rolando Mandroga. Made his Serie A debut as a 17-year-old in 2014 against Juventus, and just over a year later, Juventus had signed him with the new Marco Verratti, set to play out the rest of the season on loan at Pescara. Complications with a foot surgery meant Mandrago did not make his Juve debut until 2017, and was sent on a season-long loan to Crotone. He did very well on loan, leading to Udinese signing him in 2018 and a full international debut for Italy. The midfielder rising star of the Italian game, but sadly he suffered a serious knee injury. That did not stop Juve paying 10 million to buy him back, but more knee injuries limited his game time before Juventus sold him to Fiorentina. Mondrago would become a key player for them as they reached the final of the Conference League, but further knee injuries have limited his influence and he is now in and out of the Fiorentina team. Number 23, Enes Ünal. Already the youngest goalscorer in Turkish league history and a full Turkey international at the age of 17, Ünal joined Man City in 2015 and was immediately sent on loan to Belgium. He struggled though and was sent to a Dutch side where he did very well. He then joined FC Twente on loan, scoring 19 goals for the club, prompting Villarreal to pay 14 million for him. The Villarreal move didn't work too well, so he joined Real Valladolid, where he rediscovered some form, eventually joining Getafe in 2020. Despite Getafe struggling in the league, Ünal enjoyed his most productive season to date, netting 16 times in the league. He followed that up with another great season with Juventus linked with him, but a torn cruciate ligament injury put paid to any potential big money move. Having returned to action, Ünal was sent to Bournemouth, and he has now remained there largely as a backup striker, but sadly a knee injury has ruled him out for the rest of the season. Number 22, Sergio Diaz. Having been likened to Sergio Aguero when he came through in Paraguay, Diaz was linked with Liverpool and United after a series of eye-catching performances for Cerro Porteño. He eventually joined Real Madrid in 2016, enjoying a great season for their B team. He was loaned to Lugo, but a ruptured knee ligament ended his season. Having recovered from injury, he was sent to Brazil, but he did not work out there and suffered more knee problems. Mexico was his next destination, but yet again appearances were hard to come by, and 5 years after joining the club, Diaz was eventually released by Madrid. After 5 months without a club, Diaz was offered a contract by his boyhood club, but his third spell with the club got off to a nightmare as he suffered a season-ending ruptured knee ligaments. Diaz returned to action looking to salvage his injury-hit career, joining a Greek side, Panathinaikos, and Diaz has again been mostly used off the bench, while he has also spent more time on the sidelines due to injury. Number 21, Abdelhak Nouri. Regarded as one of the finest talents within Ajax Academy, Netherlands under-19 captain Nouri was being linked with Arsenal and United in 2016. However, sadly, during a pre-season friendly the following year, Nouri collapsed after suffering a cardiac arrhythmia. He suffered permanent and severe brain damage following the incident, cutting a hugely promising career tragically short. Number 20, Jean-Kevin Augustin. Rated as highly as Kylian Mbappe as they came through the ranks, Augustin was already a regular in PSG squad as a backup striker to Ibrahimovic and Cavani. He was named player of the tournament in the under-19 Euros, and after making 13 appearances for PSG, joined RB Leipzig looking for more regular football. His first season was encouraging, scoring 12 goals, but his second season was not. In a bid to regain some form, he joined Monaco on loan, but scored just 1 goal and then joined Leeds on loan. The striker struggled for fitness and was returning to Leipzig before being released and was signed by Nantes. It didn't work out though, and he then joined Basel, but more injuries meant Augustin struggled to establish himself before being released by Basel. And Augustin has been without a club since the summer, and it is difficult to see him resurrecting his career now. Number 19, Andrija Balic. Regarded as a combination of Luka Modric and Ivan Rakitic, Balic was a regular in the Hajduk split midfield at the age of 17 and was linked with a move to Juventus before eventually joining Udinese. Balic managed 21 league appearances in his first full season in Italy, but failed to impress before suffering a knee injury. After falling down the pecking order, he was sent on a series of loans, eventually joining a Slovenian side on a permanent move. The 2020-21 season was his best in terms of regular game time, helping the club qualify for the Conference League, but he sadly was released by the club in 2025 and is now a free agent. Number 18, Manu Garcia. Signed by Manchester City as a 16-year-old, Garcia spent 2 years in the academy before earning a call-up to the senior squad, with his first goal coming against Palace in 2015. Garcia joined Alaves on loan, but had that deal cut short before moving to a Dutch side, helping them get promotion to the top flights. He did pretty well in Eredivisie before joining Toulouse on loan, and after another encouraging season, he eventually left Man City on a permanent, joining his boyhood club Sporting Gijón, who paid a club record fee to bring him to Spain. Garcia played a key role for his side in the second division, and after another strong season, he made his Spain debut before joining Alaves on loan again. He was in and out of the Alaves team, and Sporting chose to sell him to a Greek side in 2022. Sadly, in what proved to be his final match, he scored a hat-trick and then suffered a ruptured cruciate ligament. He spent 12 months on the sideline, struggling to replicate his form, and is now playing in the MLS for Sporting Kansas City. Number 17, Victor Osimhen. Having won the Golden Boot at the 2015 Under-17 World Cup, Osimhen agreed a deal to join Wolfsburg in 2017. The forward didn't play much though and was loaned to a Belgian side where he did fantastic, leading them to sign him permanently before immediately selling him to Lille. The striker's fine form continued in France as he netted 18 times, leading to Napoli to spend £40 million to sign him for a club record deal. Injuries meant his first season was stop and start, but his second season he managed to score 18 goals before exploding, spearheading Europe's most exciting side with 31 goals as Napoli won their first Serie A title since 1990. Despite interest from top European clubs, he stayed put, and after failing to agree a deal to leave the club, he joined Galatasaray on loan, where he has been prolific. Number 16, Patrick Roberts. Having made his debut for Fulham as a 17-year-old, Roberts was signed by Man City in 2015, already being handed some Premier League minutes before being loaned to Celtic. He became a fan favourite and even scored against Man City in the Champions League. His record of 17 goals and 20 assists convinced Celtic to take him on another loan. Sadly, injuries meant he didn't have the same impact and he was sent to Girona. He managed to play quite a bit, but was then sent on loan to Middlesbrough before having a 6th different loan joining a Ligue 1 side. In 2022, City agreed to finally let Roberts leave permanently, joining Sunderland, where he did fantastic, and he is now a key player for them as they chase promotion back to the Premier League. Number 15, Umar Sadiq. Sadiq made an immediate impact during a loan spell at Roma from Spezia in 1516, scoring twice either side of the new year, despite being just 18 years old. He was made permanent move at Roma before scoring 4 goals at the 2016 Olympics. However, a series of injury problems limited his Serie A minutes, and he was sent on a series of loans. He joined NAC Breda in Netherlands and contributed to 8 goals in 12 league appearances, with his most productive spell. He was then sent on yet another loan, joining Rangers and then Perugia before joining Partizan Belgrade, where he finally returned on his potential, scoring 30 goals, and he was signed on a permanent. He then left to Almeria, where he was the top scorer in the second division of Spain, and then made his full Nigeria debut at the African Cup of Nations. He spearheaded Almeria to promotion before Real Sociedad spent £20 million on him. He scored 3 goals in his first 6 games, but an MCL tear meant he missed the rest of the season. Sadly, he hasn't been the same player since and is now out on loan at Valencia. Number 14, Amadou Diawara. Bologna snapped up Diawara in 2015, and he was a regular for the Serie A side despite being just a teenager. That convinced Napoli to sign him for £15 million, and though not a regular, Diawara managed to play quite a bit in his debut campaign. He remained in and out of the Napoli team, and after 3 years at Naples, he was sold to Roma in 2019. A series of knee injuries, though, limited his appearances, and he was unable to establish himself before a fallout with Jose Mourinho left him permanently out of the squad. He eventually left Roma for Anderlecht in 2022, and after another strong start, he yet again fell out of favour with his manager, and he was released from Anderlecht this year in February. Number 13, Donny van de Beek. Dubbed Maradoni by Ajax supporters, Van de Beek was a regular as an 18-year-old. 17-18 proved to be his real breakout campaign, netting 11 goals and providing 6 assists, before he eventually earned himself a spot on the Ballon d'Or shortlist, playing a pivotal role in Ajax's semi-final run to the Champions League. After more strong showings, he was signed by Man United, but unfortunately struggled to find a place in the United team, starting just 4 games in his first campaign. He joined Everton on loan but struggled with injuries, and it was hoped the arrival of his former manager at Ajax would help revitalise his career, but he remained on the periphery. He was eventually loaned to Frankfurt in 2024, failing to impress, and he was eventually sold this summer to Girona, where he has been playing regularly for the first time in 5 years. Number 12, Gabriel Jesus. Likened to Neymar due to his electric pace and ability with the ball at his feet, 18-year-old Jesus was linked with a move to Arsenal, Juventus and Roma, before Man City paid £27 million for the starlet. 1 month later, he made his senior Brazil debut, and he made an electric start to life at City, scoring 7 goals in his first 10 games. Jesus would continue to go from strength to strength before helping Brazil lift the Copa America in 2019. Another 20-plus goal campaign followed, but his goal return started to go down, and the arrival of Erling Haaland meant Jesus left to Arsenal for a £45 million deal. Jesus made a fine start to life in North London as the Gunners narrowly missed out on the Premier League title. However, goals started to dry up for Jesus, and he remains at Arsenal, currently out with an ACL injury, limiting his chances of being Arsenal's number 9. Number 11, Vaclav Cerny. Compared to Ian Robin and Mark Overmars, Cerny's steps into the Ajax first team had led Czech legend Nedved to encourage Juve to sign him. Despite being a star for the Ajax youth team, Cerny struggled to replicate that form at first team level. He then suffered a cruciate ligament injury, keeping him out for an entire year. When he returned to Ajax, he fell down the pecking order and was sent to FC Twente, joining on a loan. He was fantastic, only for a season-ending knee injury in 2021 to ruin his spell. He did move permanently though to Twente and slowly worked his way back into starting contention, and was back to his best in 22-23. That persuaded Wolfsburg to sign him, but he was in and out of the Wolfsburg side, and this year was loaned to Rangers, where he has had the best goal-scoring season of his career. Number 10, Joe Gomez. Signed from Charlton in 2015, Gomez was thrown straight into the Liverpool team before an ACL injury ruled him out for the season. He made just 8 appearances in 16-17, but began making more opportunities at the start of the following season, earning his full England debut. Another injury and surgery meant he missed the World Cup that summer, and he did return the next year, establishing himself as Van Dijk's first-choice partner in central defence, sadly only to suffer a broken leg. He returned in time to make an appearance in the 2019 Champions League final, but was no longer a regular for Jurgen Klopp's side. The centre-back played 28 league matches for the Reds as they won the title in 1920, but another knee injury meant he missed the majority of the next season. He suffered then some really poor performances, leading to reports he could be sold, but he managed to turn his career around last season, earning a recall to the England squad. He has now been used as a backup centre-back in this season, though injuries yet again have forced him out of the side. Number 9, Malcolm. Compared to Robinho, Malcolm had been linked with the likes of Juventus, following a series of impressive displays in Brazil. He eventually joined Bordeaux, where he went from strength to strength, emerging as one of the brightest attackers in Europe, prompting Barcelona to pay 41 million to sign him. Malcolm struggled in Spain, and after just one season was sold to Zenit for around 40 million. Injuries limited his first season, but he eventually hit the ground running as Zenit won the Russian Premier League, with Malcolm voted as the league's player of the season. He left last summer, however, as one of the big money signings made by Saudi Arabian clubs, joining Al Hilal, where he remains. Number 8, Renato Sanchez. Despite only making his first team debut in 2015, Sanchez was earning rave reviews in Portugal. He went on to be named Younger Player of the Tournament as Portugal won Euro 2016, earning himself a move to Bayern Munich. Sanchez struggled to force himself into the Bayern team, and was loaned to Swansea City, where he became something of a laughingstock, making just 12 appearances. A falling out eventually led to him being sold to Lille in 2019, and after a slow start, Sanchez established himself, playing a key role as Lille won the Ligue 1 title. Sanchez continued to impress for Lille before PSG managed to sign him, but a series of injuries meant he made just 6 Ligue 1 appearances. He was sent on loan to Roma last year, where he struggled yet again, and Benfica have re-signed him on loan this year, but injuries yet again have limited his minutes. Number 7, Ante Coric. Having made his senior debut at the age of 16, Coric was regarded as one of Europe's brightest prospects, and had already earned a cap for Croatia as part of their Euro 2016 squad. Coric Koric continued to be a regular contributor for Dinamo Zagreb before Roma signed him, but he made just 3 first-team appearances and was sent on a series of loans in the Netherlands and Spain, where he underwhelmed. He was then sent on a loan to Slovenia before being sent on a loan to a Swiss side, yet again struggling for game time. Koric refused to leave Roma in the summer of 2022 and spent a year without kicking a ball before being released. And after 18 months without playing a competitive match, he joined the Croatian side but was released 4 months later and is currently a free agent. Number 6. Gerson. Having made his Fluminense debut at the age of 18, Gerson was signed by Roma in 2016 as they beat off competition from Barca and Juventus. Gerson was sent to Fiorentina for experience in Serie A, which he did get, only for Roma to sell him to Flamengo in the summer of 2019. The £12 million fee made him the most expensive Brazilian player ever signed by a Brazilian club, and Gerson became a star as Flamengo won back-to-back league titles and the Copa Libertadores. A return to Europe looked inevitable, and he eventually joined Marseille, who paid £25 million to sign him in 2021. He made his international debut for Brazil and became one of the most consistent players for Marseille. New signings meant he somewhat fell down the pecking order, and he eventually returned to Flamengo, where he was installed as captain and has now established himself as a regular for the side and a Brazilian international. Number 5. Martin Odegaard. Having become the youngest player and goalscorer in the Norwegian top flight, and the youngest player to ever represent Norway, Real Madrid beat off a host of clubs to sign Odegaard in 2015. After making just 1 appearance for the first team, he was sent on loan to Heerenveen and then Vitesse, which proved to be a breakout season for him, where he contributed 23 goals, a form which convinced Real Sociedad to sign him on loan. Odegaard excelled in Sociedad as one of the best midfielders in La Liga, and Zidane ordered his loan deal to be cut short so he could join the Madrid first team. Opportunities were still limited, and he joined Arsenal on loan in 2021. His performances were enough to convince them to pay £30 million to make the move permanent, and Odegaard was back to his best and has since established himself as the captain and one of the best players in the Premier League. Number 4. Ruben Neves. The youngest goalscorer in Porto history and youngest Portuguese player to play in Europe, and the youngest player to captain a team in the Champions League. At just 18, Neves was linked with a host of top clubs. When Neves did leave Porto, he surprisingly joined Championship side Wolves, who paid a league record fee to bring him to Molineux in 2017. Neves proved too good for the second tier, winning Wolves Player of the Season as they won promotion. The midfielder made a strong start to life in the Prem and was a key player for them as they qualified for the Europa League. Neves continued to be a consistent performer, earning links to some of Europe's biggest teams. Having played 253 games for Wolves, he left them in 2023 to join Al Hilal for £50 million. A knee injury forced him to sit out for 3 months, but he remains a star performer for the Saudi side. Number 3. Gianluigi Donnarumma. A true revelation, Donnarumma broke into the Milan first team at the age of 16 and showed enough in his early months to be regarded as the heir to Buffon's spots. Donnarumma continued to impress for Milan, winning the 2017 NXGN Awards, though a contract dispute led to him falling out with many of the Milan fans. Having eventually signed a new deal, he cemented his spot as the best young goalkeeper in the world and became Italy's number 1. The crowning moment for him was in Euro 2020, where he was crowned player of the tournament before joining PSG, where he has continued to establish himself as the number one. Number 2, Brill Embolo. Already a full Swiss international, Embolo was linked with the likes of Arsenal, Chelsea and Juventus, after he helped fire Basel to the Swiss title in 2015. However, the following summer he eventually joined Schalke for 20 million, but injuries meant he missed 11 months. He eventually made a return to action but struggled to deliver and was sold to Borussia Mönchengladbach. Initially he struggled for goals, but then scored 6 times in Gladbach's final 8 games, convincing Monaco to spend 12 million on him. Embolo enjoyed his best goal-scoring season to date, netting 14 times in all competitions, but suffered an ACL injury in 2023, and has now since found goals hard to come by at Monaco. Okay, and finally, number 1, the Next Gen winner in 2016 was Yuri Tielemans. A regular in the Anderlecht first team, Tielemans already had 18 Champions League appearances under his belt at the age of 16. Juventus were heavily linked with him after he made his Belgium debut, but Monaco agreed to pay 25 million to sign him in 2017. Tielemans was regarded as a flop during his first season in France and continued to struggle, eventually joining Leicester on loan. He proved to be a revelation in the Premier League, and the Foxes were able to sign him permanently in a club record deal. Tielemans continued to improve and enjoyed the crowning moment of his career when his stunning strike against Chelsea at Wembley won Leicester their first ever FA Cup. Tielemans' level dropped off as the Foxes were relegated, but he would remain in the Premier League, and after a slow start at Aston Villa, he has now become a regular starter and one of the better central midfielders in the league. So there we go. That is the 2016 Next Gen generation. We had some hits, the likes of Osimhen, obviously Ousmane Dembele, Odegaard, Donnarumma. I think you can include players like Solanke, Gabriel Jesus in there. Maybe players like Joe Gomez, Yuri Tielemans, Bergwijn. You got a lot of like just solid players in there like Lafont, Van der Beek, Patrick Roberts, Nicholas Dortch. Overall, if I was to give this generation a rating out of 10, I'd probably give it a 6. He had quite a lot of busts, but he had a couple really good players and a lot of just really solid players. So yeah, there we go. That is the 2016 generation done. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you guys have enjoyed, please do leave a like, consider subscribing, and I'll see you